Most people think entering quarter four means game over for their goals. The next 3 months could literally save your entire year, but only if you stop doing what everyone else is doing. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Taylor and welcome back to my channel. So we're in the final stretch of 2025 and I've been thinking about something that's been really bugging me. Every last quarter of the year, I see the same pattern. People basically give up on their goals because there's not enough time left. I mean, can you believe it? It's October already, and before you know it, it's Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, then bam, New Year. People just think it's almost January, might as well just start over then. But here's the thing that most productivity advice completely misses. The final quarter of any year isn't just about finishing strong, it's actually the most powerful setup period for the following year. And I've got some pretty unconventional strategies that I've never shared before. I know for a fact that this can help you not just salvage 2025, but actually use these next few months to guarantee 2026 becomes your best year yet. And did I mention I've learned these strategies from the best millionaires who have made it, famous authors, so you know that these strategies work. Now, I know what you're thinking. Elizabeth, my goals were way too big. There's no way I can hit them now. But what if I told you that's actually not the point anymore? Ready to crush those goals? Let's unpack the strategies now. Strategy number 1, the December audit method. Let me share something I learned from Ali Abdaal, but changed it a little bit. He adapted this method from his CEO coach that completely shifted how I think about year-end goal achievement. He calls it the December audit, and it's nothing like the typical year-end review everyone talks about, but instead of waiting until December to do this, you can start as early as now. I'd like to call it the quarter 4 audit. I know it's not the most remarkable name, but what it's done for me is pretty remarkable. Instead of looking at what you didn't accomplish, which is what most people typically do and why they feel terrible, you're gonna do something completely different. You're gonna audit for wins. Here's how it works. Get out a notebook and I want you to write down every single goal you set at the beginning of 2025. Or if you already have a list from before, go ahead and whip that out. Don't judge them. Just write them down or review them. Now, for each goal, instead of asking, did I achieve this? Which is an easy yes or no, ask yourself these 3 questions. First, what did I learn while pursuing this goal that I didn't know in January? Second, what skills did I develop along the way that I can now use for other things? And third, what opportunities showed up because I was working towards this goal, even if I didn't hit the target? I tried and did this exercise myself last year, and it was genuinely mind-blowing. One of my goals for 2025 was to develop the AI arm of my remote CFO and bookkeeping business. Did I complete it? No. Did I fail? No. While working towards that goal, I met professionals who could further expand the initial vision I had when it comes to AI and helping construction business owners. I also got to develop a completely new way of running my own business because of how much I geeked out and researched about AI tools. None of that would have happened if I hadn't set that failed goal. The goal wasn't a failure. It was a catalyst for growth I couldn't have predicted. Strategy 2, the 30-day sprint method. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once you're done with your quarter 4 audit and you realize you're actually accomplished way more than you thought, you can use the final 3 months of the year in a way that most people never consider. I call this the 3-month sprint method, and it's based on something I learned out of curiosity from how video game designers keep players engaged. They use something called variable ratio reinforcements. I know that sounds really deep and technical, but in simple terms, it's basically unpredictable rewards that keep you coming back. Let me explain further. Here's how you apply this to your goals. Instead of trying to accomplish your original big goal in 3 months, which is still possible, but with how fast time flies these days, 3 months would feel like 30 days. You're going to break it down into what I call micro-victories. So let's say your goal was to lose 20 pounds this year and you've only lost 8. Instead of thinking I failed, you're going to set up a 3-month sprint where every single day has a small achievable win related to that goal. So the first day, let's say you drink 8 glasses of water. Day 2, take a 20-minute walk. Day 3, follow your preset food plan. These aren't overnight life-changing actions, but you can actually trick your brain into associating that goal with winning instead of failing. So by January 1st, you haven't just lost maybe 10 more pounds, which is great, but more importantly, you've rewired your relationship with that goal. Instead of starting 2026 feeling like you're behind, you start feeling like like you're on a winning streak. Plus, you wouldn't feel rushed or pressured at all because you decided to start in October to map out your success for 2026. Now, this next strategy is something I've been experimenting with recently, and it's honestly a bit weird, but it's so good. I learned this from Alex Hormozy, and I've adapted it for year-end planning. It's called the Future Self Conversation. I know it sounds cheesy, but bear with me. Here's how it works. You're going to have a pretend conversation with yourself on October 1st, 2026. So 1 year-ish from now, get out your notebook again and literally write this as a dialogue. Start with, hey, it's October 1st, 2026. I'm calling you from the future to tell you about the most important thing you did in the final months of 2025. Then write what your future self would say. Don't overthink it. Just write down whatever pops in your head. There's no right or wrong here. What would future you be most grateful for that you did in September 2025? When I did this exercise, my future self told me the most important thing you did was stop trying to finish everything, and instead you focus on setting up systems that would work automatically in 2026. That completely changed my Q4 strategy. So instead of cramming to hit what were honestly unattainable targets, I spent time building systems, automated email sequences, content creative workflow, investment strategies that would carry over into 2026. Which brings me to the most powerful strategy of all, the compound setup. This is about using the final quarter of the year, not to finish things, but to start things that will compound throughout 2026. Most people think about goals linear. I want to achieve X by Y day. But the most successful people I know think about goals exponentially. What can I start now that will grow automatically over time? Here are 3 compound setups you can implement in the next 90 days. First, the learning compound. Pick one skill that if you got 1% better every day for a year would transform your life. For me, it was understanding AI tools. I didn't try to become an expert in December of last year. I just committed to learning one new thing about AI every single day. No joke. By the end of 2025, that daily habit had completely changed how I work. And second, the relationship compound. Identify 5 people who, if you had stronger relationships with them, would open up opportunities you can't even imagine right now. Then reach out to one person every other week or so for next 90 days. Not to ask for anything, just to reconnect and add value to their life. And lastly, the health compound. Instead of trying to lose 10 pounds by December 31st, focus on building one tiny habit that will compound over 365 days. For me, it was not skipping a single day of sweating from some kind of movement, whether it's gym or run or playing pickleball. My husband is very competitive. It completely transformed my body and my mindset. Finally, here's my favorite strategy for bringing 2025 into 2026, the anti-resolution resolution. Everyone knows that New Year's resolutions fail because they're too vague, too ambitious, and not connected to daily habits. But what most people don't realize is the problem isn't the resolution itself, it's the timing. Starting a major life change on January 1st while literally still swimming in old unhealthy habits just 24 hours before is like trying to merge into a highway during rush hour. Everyone's doing it, the system is overloaded, and you are competing for limited resources like gym space, motivation, willpower. Instead, start your 2026 resolution on December 1st of 2025. Give yourself a 4-week head start while everyone else is still in holiday mode. But to make sure it does work, don't call it a resolution, call it an experiment. I am experimenting with waking up at 5 a.m. for the next 4 weeks to see how it affects my energy levels. Experiments feel less permanent, less scary, and more interesting than resolutions. Plus, it invites curiosity rather than pressure, and by the time January 1st rolls around, you're not starting something new. You're just continuing something that's already working. Not gonna lie, I used to be terrible at this stuff. Q4 hits and I'd look at my goal list, feel like a complete failure, and basically write off the entire year. Then I'd set even more ambitious goals for the next year, fail those two, and repeat the cycle. The turning point came in October 2019. I hadn't hit most of my goals that year, but instead of simmering in sadness, I decided to try something different. I spent the last 3 months not trying to achieve anything, but instead documenting everything I had learned that year. I filled up an entire notebook with lessons, insights, skills I've developed, people I've met. By the end of the year, I realized 2019 hadn't been a failure at all. It had been one of the most growth-filled years of my life. I just hadn't been measuring the right things. That shift in perspective really changed everything. 2020 became the year I went full-time on my business, as well as when I published my first YouTube video, despite feeling very awkward in front of the camera. 2021 was when I hired my first couple employees. 22 was when I purchased my first house. I mean, none of that would have happened if I hadn't learned to see failure as data instead of defeat. So here's what I want you to do right now. And I mean, literally right now, while you're watching this video, pause it, get out your notes and write down one thing you're going to do in the next 24 hours that your October 1st, 2026 self would thank you for. Not next week, not when you feel motivated, today. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something that starts the compound effect rolling. And if you do this, if you actually pause this video and write something down, you have to leave a comment below and tell me what it is. I read every single comment and I'd love to celebrate these small but powerful decisions with you. Remember, you haven't failed in 2025 and you still have time to close out the year smashing those goals. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.